Hello and welcome back to another video of Learn Microsoft Fabric. If you're new here, my name's Will, and in this video we're going to be looking at data pipelines, and this is the first in a two-part series about data pipelines in Microsoft Fabric. Now if you've been watching before, you'd have seen that I've done two previous videos about Dataflows, which is the other part of the Data Factory experience within Fabric. And data pipelines are slightly different. They allow us to do slightly different things. And in this video, I'm going to be providing an overview of what those things are, what you can do with data pipelines, who these are for really. We're going to be having a look at some of the core use cases and some of the limitations as well. So let's get into it. And to give you a bit of context about where data pipelines sit, and if you've had a look at any of my previous videos, I've explained some of these concepts in detail before. So here we're in the Data Factory experience, and the Data Factory experience primarily is to get data into our one lake, do some transformations with it possibly, and some other things like that. So this presentation is all about the data pipeline. And so when we think about the main use cases for data pipelines, really there's two that come to mind. We've got the extract, transform, load capabilities, and I put transform in brackets there because natively within data pipelines you can't do many transformations. It's not like a data flow. We don't have 300 plus transformations that we do, but it's really useful as an orchestration tool. So what we can do is we can embed either data flows or data engineering notebooks or data science notebooks. And these can do our transformations for us. We're using data pipeline just for the scheduling and the orchestration type capabilities. So that's basically what we're going to be doing with a data pipeline. And who is it for? Well, I think that Power BI developers could also use data pipelines. It's not a particularly complex tool to use once you know how it works. There is a scripting language. It's relatively easy to learn. Again, I would say business users as well, but primarily we're looking at data engineers. They're going to be the ones who are using data pipelines. And a very brief comparison with some of the other tools that Microsoft already has. And the main one is obviously Azure Data Factory. And a lot of the capability for data pipelines comes from Azure Data Factory. But beware that there's lots of limitations in Fabric data pipelines, things that you could do with Azure Data Factory that currently, as of July 2023, you can't do yet in data pipelines. And I'll be going through those in a bit more detail in a later slide. And if you watch my last couple of videos about data flows, I talked about the differences between data flows and data pipelines. But just to recap on those, data flows offer a lot more connections. Data pipelines are a lot quicker than data flows, at least currently. And data pipelines, we can do much more complex transformation logic because we can embed Synapse notebooks in there, so we can do Python. So we have a lot more flexibility when it comes to like control flow. We can loop through different things. We can do all sorts of transformations, and we can do it on really big data, because if you're embedding a notebook into your data pipeline, then obviously that's going to leverage Spark, and you can do transformations on billions of rows, for example, which you can't really do very efficiently in data flows. So I've mentioned the Synapse Data Notebook, and these two are not really a comparison. Normally they work side by side because a data engineering notebook on its own is a bit useless. Normally you want to encapsulate that logic and orchestrate it to schedule it. I want to run this data engineering script on repeat. I want to do it every morning, for example, or every hour. And so these two are used at the same time synonymously quite a lot. And so just to cover some of the limitations with Fabric data pipelines, and I'll caveat this by saying that I presume that in the future these won't be limitations. I think just with the public preview of Fabric, not all of the features from Azure Data Factory have been ported over. For example, CI/CD you can't do currently with Fabric data pipelines. There's only one trigger type available currently, which is the scheduled refresh. Obviously, in Azure Data Factory, you can do other types of triggers, such as event-based triggers or tumbling windows, and these are very useful, so it'd be great to see those in data pipelines in Fabric. Some of the connections are still being worked on, so if you're looking at OAuth, or there's no integration yet with Azure Key Vault, so that's something to bear in mind if you're very safety conscious and you don't want to put your keys into Fabric, and that's something to bear in mind. And the other thing to mention about connections, you can't access on-premise data currently through a Fabric data pipeline. So if you're using a lot of on-premise data and you had ADF pipelines, then you're going to carry on using Azure Data Factory, because currently in Fabric, they don't have on-premises data connections that are very... So that was a very, very brief overview of Fabric data pipelines from a high level. In the next video, I'm going to be looking at data pipelines in detail. I'm going to be walking through some examples. I'm going to be looking at how to orchestrate notebooks and how to schedule stored procedures. And that's when data pipelines become very, very useful. So a short video today. In the next video, like I say, I'll be going into more detail about data pipelines. So make sure you're subscribed. If you found this video helpful, please give me a like, and I would love to see any comments that you've got on this video or any ideas for future videos about Microsoft Fabric. Leave it in the comments below. And that's all for this video. I will see you in the next one.